Hello student. Assalamu alaikum. In today's class, I am starting uh, A-level class lecture, electrolysis. What is electrolysis? This is very important chapter in chemistry, and there are many confusion about electrolysis, topic electrolysis, which I am clearing here. First, we study what is the electrolysis. What does the mean about electrolysis in chemistry? Now, student, listen carefully. It is very important chapter, and it is the chapter when we learn completely, then you can solve the past paper easily. Okay, just like name of the electrolysis. When we say about electrolysis, it is belong to the electricity. When electricity pass through the what we say about electricity, it is the decomposition of the molten or aqueous ionic compound. Okay, student, what is uh, electrolysis? It is belong to the composition of molten and ionic compound. What is electrolysis? It is belong to decomposition. Okay, student, do you know what is decomposition? Mean breaking. Belong to decomposition of molten. Decomposition of molten or ionic, aqueous ionic. These composition mean when we break the compound. Here we are using, therefore it is belong to, we are saying here the electrolysis. Electrolysis is the decomposition of molten and aqueous ionic compound. Decomposition of molten. Molten mean melt. Molten mean melt. Molten and aqueous. Aqueous mean compound in water. Molten and ionic compound. Aqueous ionic compound. This is the electrolysis. When we break the molten or aqueous ionic compound with the help of electricity. Aqueous ionic compound. In electrolysis, ionic compound we must use. We must use the ionic compound. There are two states of the ionic compound where it is molten or it is in aqueous. Okay, we are using these two states, molten or aqueous. Molten mean melt. In electrolysis, we are using the melt ionic compound or compound which is in water, aqueous ionic compound we are using. So electrolysis is the decomposition of the molten and aqueous ionic compounds uh, passing an electric current through it when we are passing the electric current through the molten and ionic compound. Okay. Electrolysis is the decomposition belong to the electrolysis belong to the decomposition of molten and ionic compound, aqueous ionic compound. Aqueous ionic compound which is in water. When we break molten ionic compound or aqueous ionic solution into their ion, it is known as a electrochemistry. Uh, when we talk about the electrolysis, we are using in electrolysis for the decomposition of ionic compound as a molten state or in aqueous state. We are using the electrode. These electrodes basically connected to a electricity, mean battery or cell. These are these are connected to electricity. One connected to positive, one connected to negative. And we are using the container. In container, we dip these two cathode, and there is a there is a solution. Now this solution or this liquid we are using as our electrolyte. This is maybe we know as molten ionic. We can keep it as a form of molten ionic compound, mean melt, or it is the aqueous solution. It is the aqueous solution. When we are decomposing the ionic compound in the form of molten state or as a aqueous solution, ionic compound, we are decomposing the ionic compound. You must remember here, we cannot use solid ionic compound. We cannot pass electricity from the solid ionic compound. Therefore, in electrolysis, we are using the electrode which are connected to battery, providing the current to the solution. And with the help of this electricity, we break the molten ionic compound or aqueous solution into ions. Now, this whole process is known as electrolysis. Clear, student? With the help of electricity, when we break the ionic compound in molten form, mean melting form, or in the form of aqueous or in water, when we dissolve the ionic compound, we break the ionic compound ions uh, with the help of electrode. Now, this process is known as electrochemistry. Clear, student? No, uh, no, I'm telling you, uh, in electrochemistry, we are using the Faraday law. What's the Faraday law? Faraday law is consisting the equation F equal to LE. Now, this is the Faraday law equation. In this equation, F is equal to the Faraday constant. In this equation, F is known as Faraday constant. When we study about the electrolysis, we must use the Faraday law. And in Faraday law, there is an equation F equal to LE, where F is the Faraday constant. Faraday's scientist. Faraday gives us an equation in electrochemistry, which is known as F equal to LE. In this equation, F is the Faraday constant. It is equal to the product of Avogadro number and charge of lepton, where L is the Avogadro number. Okay, student? First, I told you the definition. Now, I'm telling you the Faraday equation. According to Faraday equation, F equal to LU, in which F is the Faraday constant, L is the Avogadro number. Avogadro's number. In my opinion, you must know about what is Avogadro number. Avogadro number is a quantity and of atoms, and it is Faraday constant is equal to is multiple of L, mean Avogadro constant, and by the charge of electron. When we multiply the Avogadro constant with charge, we get charge on electron. Charge on electron, these are the constant values. Avogadro constant is constant and charge on the electron is constant. Charge on electron. It is constant. When we multiply these two constant, Avogadro number with the charge on electron, we get the Faraday constant. F. This is the Avogadro constant. This is the electron charge value. When you multiply these two, get the Avogadro constant. Now, I'm telling you what we get when we multiply Avogadro number by charge on electron. Here, what we get when we multiply these two, we get 9.85, 9.65 into 10 power 4. When we multiply these two constants, we get the value 9.65 into 10 power 4. And there is we are using the uh, unit coulomb per mole. Coulomb per mole. It's mean when we get the Faraday constant value, 1 Faraday constant, which is equal to the multiple of the Avogadro number and charge on the electron, we get 9.65 into 10 power 4 coulomb per mole. Coulomb per mole is the Faraday constant unit. Faraday constant unit. And coulomb basically representing the charge. Coulomb mean it is the quantity of the charge. When we talk about coulomb, it's mean it is representing the charge. And according to formula, coulombs equal to current into time. Basically, coulombs is the product of current into time. Okay, student? Now it is clear what is the Faraday law? Faraday constant. No? Faraday constant is the multiple of the Avogadro number and the electron charge. The Avogadro number is also constant. It is 6.6 multiplied by 10 power 24 number of atoms, and the electron charge is the 1.6 into 10 power 19. When we multiply these two, we get the Faraday constant, which is equal to 9.65 into 10 power 4 coulombs per mole. And in this equation, we are saying coulomb. Coulomb is basically is the product of the current and time. Coulomb is the charge, and it is the product of current and time. Now here I'm telling you the two equation now. Faraday constant equation, which is equal to Le, Avogadro number and charge of electron multiple, and the coulombs. Coulombs equal to the product of the current and time. Okay, now I'm coming towards the uh, another value, which is here. I told you the second value is, I told you here, the second value, Avogadro constant, which is we are using in the Faraday law, Faraday constant equations. We are using in Faraday constant equation this. Now, what is the Avogadro's constant? Avogadro constant is the multiple, is the value. Avogadro constant is the value 6 into 10 power 23. These are the number of atoms which are present in 1 mole. These are number of the atoms particle in 1 mole. These are the number of particles in 1 mole. Avogadro constant means the number of particles in 1 mole. Now, student clear? What is Faraday constant? Faraday constant is the multiple of the uh, of the Avogadro number, which is 6 into 10 power 23, and the electron charge. Electron charge is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 column. And here also I told you the equation for the column equation, current into time. When we multiply current with time, we get the column. Columns equal to current into time. Now, clear, student? I told you about the electrochemistry. Electrochemistry is that electrolysis, that uh, topic in which we study about the ionic compound decomposition, ionic compound which are in molten state or in aqueous solution. We study these two. And when we start electrolysis, first we study about the Faraday constant. Faraday constant is the multiple of the Avogadro number and electron charge. Avogadro number is 6 into 10 power 23, and the electron charge is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. When we multiply these two, we get 9.65 into 10 power 4 coulombs per mole. This is the Faraday value. 1 Faraday is equal to that one. Okay. Now, how we get the products in electrolysis? How we get the product? No, I'm telling you how we get the product in electrolysis process. When we are using the molten compound, ionic compound, molten compound mean melt it. Molten mean melt it. When we are using the molten compound, molten mean it is melted. Now there are two types of ion in compound. Number one, cation in compound. Number two, anion in compound. Cation and anion in the compound we are uh, uh, when we break the ionic compound, we get two ion, cation and anion. Cation is basically a positive ion. Cation basically is a positive ion, or anion basically is a uh, negative ion. In molten solution of ionic compound, cation is positive and anion is negative. Now, just like I'm telling you a compound, ionic compound, NaCl, sodium chloride, which is ionic compound. How the ionic compound is found? Group 1 element, group 7, when there is a large electronegativity difference between the atoms, so there is ionic compound formed. Positive ion is sodium, which is known as cation, and negative ion is chlorine, which is known as anion. Now, in electrolysis, what happens? These, when we apply the electrode, these ion moving towards the different electrode. Cation moving towards the cathode electrode. Electrode is cathode, which having the negative charge. Positive ion moving always towards the negative electrode, mean cathode. And negative ion always moving to the anode, which is positive. Both opposite charge moving towards the both opposite electrode. Anion moving towards the cathode and cation moving towards the uh, cathode, negative, cat is positive, anion negative, moving towards the anode, which is positive. Okay, just like I am drawing here a diagram. Let's see here the diagram. You see in this diagram, I'm putting here electrode. One is positive electrode, mean connected to positive terminal, and one is negative electrode. okay, which is connected with negative terminal. Listen carefully, very carefully. This is a very important topic and difficult topic. Most of the students are asking about the electrochemistry. Now, listen carefully. You will learn all about electrochemistry here. You check two ions. I'm putting here the NaCl as a molten form or in aqueous form, okay? Aqueous form mean water with NaCl or molten form only NaCl. When I am putting here the electrode positive and negative, mean positive anode and negative is cathode. Clear? Negative is cathode. Positive is anode. Now, when we put there are in molten NaCl, there are two ions formed, Na plus and Cl minus. According to movement of ions, this is the cation positive moving towards the cathode, and this is the anion negative moving towards the anode. Anion taking interest in anode and cation taking interest in cathode because both are naturally, basically, or property wise, both are opposite to each other. Now, what happens when these are moving towards uh, their respected cathode? Just like sodium is positive. When it is moving towards the uh, anode, positive moving towards the cathode. Now, what is problem with Na? Na plus. Na plus lose its electron. Na plus lose its electron. There is a lack of electron. Therefore, due to lack of electron, it is moving towards the electrode consisting electrode, mean cathode, and where it get the electron. When it gets the electron, it becomes neutral because charge is formed due to the lack of electron. When it gets electron, it becomes positive. Okay, the cathode is negative, giving the electrode to the sodium. And what happens with the chloride ion, which is negative. Okay, now this reaction happens at cathode, and this reaction happens at anode. Negative ion moving towards the positive anode. And what happened? This ion having excess electrons are it having more electron, and when it having more electron, it having the tendency to give electron, and where it give the electron to anode, and when it give the electrode to anode, it becomes neutral. Why it becomes neutral? Because it is charged due to electron. When it lose electron, it becomes neutral. When it becomes neutral, now loses the electron. Now these electron it transfer towards the anode and become neutral. Now after that we balance the equation. Now chlorine to form, it's mean two electron losing the chlorine. When two electron losing, the it means Cl2 because one is losing one, two losing two. Now balance it. Now there is chloride and two. So this is the whole balance. Now sodium losing one electron become sodium metal. Now it also becomes balanced because all the numbers are the same. One sodium ion losing one electron and one sodium form. Clear? Now subscribe my channel. I will tell you more about the electrolysis. In today's class, I told you some basic thing about the electrochemistry. If you have any problem, you can contact me on my comment site. And inshallah, I will continue this topic in next lecture. Subscribe my channel and get more videos. Uh, I can teach math, physics, chemistry, biology, additional mathematics, pure mathematics, mechanics, further mathematics and statistics, you can contact me for O and A levels or IB syllabus. My name is Amir Hassan. Subscribe my channel, get more video. Okay, student? Now, Allah Hafiz.